Okay, I think we are live now. So let's see when it shows up. So if you want to share anything, like any link for people to join.
So, okay, I was sharing your profile. So, is there any other link I can share?
Yeah, the one. Okay, I think it has started.
Okay, just send to
The
me.
live session. I need to log into my. The live session has started. So you can collect that. Wait, let me share it with you people now. Share. Okay. Just as we are waiting, we can just. Where is the chat? This Google Meet there. I don't even know what's going on there. YouTube live. So I sent you a YouTube live this thing. That's
Okay.
the very video. So that's the video you can share.
You shared on WhatsApp, or where did you send it?
Anywhere like Facebook, WhatsApp.
No, I mean, where did you share it to me?
Oh, this chat here.
Okay.
Or should I share it on WhatsApp?
No problem. I will
Let me
copy.
share it with you on WhatsApp as well.
Okay, it's better.
I want to add a thumbnail. I created one funky thumbnail this morning.
Can you share it on WhatsApp? I'm having some issues copying it from Google Meet.
Okay, I will share it now with you. Oh, okay, that's nice from my stomach. Okay, I think we are live now. Let me see it.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we can mute and we can just see if we'll start. Like we mute because so that it will be showing one person at a time. Okay. So okay. You are very welcome. Hello, everyone. This is Chinaza here again, and I am with my beautiful guests for this very event that we are going to be having. So I just want to welcome you. If you have already tuned in, welcome. And I'm hoping that everything we'll share here will be of great benefit to you as you prepare for your Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Scholarship interview. And I just want to say that everything we're going to be sharing here will be based on our experiences, and it's just to help you prepare for your interview. We are not representing Erasmus Mundus, we're not representing European Commission. We are just alumni that want to help any other person who wants to achieve their dream of studying abroad, of studying in at least 2 countries in Europe. You know how that sounds. So you should intensify your prayer and desire, or whatever you have to learn from here, so that you can study in Europe for free. It's not for free like that, or you will walk. Anyway, so I have with me here my friends, and I have Amarachi here. Amarachi, she will soon tell us about herself just briefly as we wait for other people to join so that we can start up immediately. And then I also have Grace. So Grace is from Goals, Erasmus Mundus. She will tell us about herself briefly. So, and then we have Amarachi from ACMAT. I don't know whether I pronounced that correctly, but Amarachi, can you just introduce yourself to us, please? Can you unmute? Thank you.
Hello, Chinaza. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, it's really an opportunity that we have to, like, I am on your channel doing this because I remember when I was preparing for my interview, it was like we had like a section like this, just both of us. So hello everyone. Like Chinaza mentioned already, my name is Amarachi DOK, and I am an Erasmus Mundus Ashmat alumna. Ashmat means archaeological material science, and yeah. So it was a program where it was a 2 years master's program I did in Europe that has its consortium universities at the University of Évora in Portugal, Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and Sapienza University of Rome, Italy. Yeah, so currently I am based in Germany, and I don't know what else I have to say here, but you're welcome to our live section, and I look forward to answering all of your questions about interview prep and um, scholarship preparation, scholarship interview preparation in general. It's not just Erasmus Mundus. Maybe whatever you get here might give you insight for whatever scholarship interviews preparation you're preparing for. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Okay, that's very great. Thank you very much. Yes, Amarachi, I remember that very week when you were invited for the interview and we were preparing all that interviews from trying to navigate the app that we use for for the interview to preparing, like from growing the confidence to becoming very confident and smashing your interview. I'm really like, it's really a testimony for me. And I was so happy when you passed your interview. That means we did something great. And that's even the reason why I wanted to have you here so that you can now share how all that went, how you prepared beyond even my own preparation with you. Okay, so Grace, can you please tell us something about you? We've had Grace here before. If you are on this channel, you will know Grace. So let's hear from her again.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gradually becoming a regular guest on Chinaza's page. So yeah, my name is Grace Tolokwe Ojo. I'm from Nigeria, obviously, and I recently graduated from the Erasmus Mundus Goals program. The full meaning is Governance and Administration of Leisure and Sports International Masters. I graduated last September, and I studied across selected European universities. First of all, at University of Lille in France, and then the second semester I spent it in Poland, Nicolas Copernicus University in Torun, Poland. And I briefly had a summer school in University of Lisbon in Portugal, and then I came back to University of Lille in France again for the third semester. And then I rounded off, of course, with my internship and the master's thesis. So overall, it was a very enriching process journey. Basically about sport management. I've been involved in sport, of course, from a very young age, so which made it very easy for me to go for this program. And luckily, of course, I had an interview before I was selected. So I look forward to an enriching session this evening to put you through, especially through my own personal experience, to put you through, give you some helpful insights, not just restricted to the Erasmus Mundus, but of course, general interview tips and guidelines. So I hope you also find this session enriching. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for that introduction. And for me, you already know me. I'm Chinaza Arinzechukwu. I was an Erasmus Mundus scholar from 2020 to 2022. It was an amazing time studying in Europe. So I studied in France, in Italy, in Romania, in Greece. And then I did my internship in Belgium. Wouldn't you even want that? Like this wonderful opportunity. Like be clapping, be clapping. Anyway, it's all God. Like it was never by my strength. I also remember that I had my friends, Ifnanya and Gabs, they prepared me for interview during my time. I think it was in March. My mom reminded me today that my interview was in March 2020. So because I was like, oh, it's February. I said, no, it's March. You got your letter in April. I was like, oh, everybody remembers in my family because they know the hard work I put while trying to prepare for this, the whole thing. Okay. So I think I just want to let us know the format of this very session. So we will be discussing different things about this interview, preparation, and also what you should expect. But then I really want to encourage you to drop any question you have on the comment section. We are monitoring that. I and my guests, we are all monitoring. We are going to be monitoring the YouTube, and as we see your questions, we'll talk about it. We'll ask it in between our conversation, but we'll have different questions that people have reached out with, like individually to the guests and also to me, and we are going to be looking at them one after the other. And some people who submitted who registered for this very session, they dropped their questions as well. So I will be asking those questions, and they'll be responding just to help you prepare for your interview. Okay, so please don't forget to drop your questions, and yeah, we'll answer it right away. So I just want to ask you, the two of you, anybody can respond. You know, like, I don't know when you were invited for interview, but I think mine was March. And I just want to start with, like, how many programs did you apply for and how many invited you for interview, or how many interview did you attend? You can include the name of your program.
Okay. Can I go first? Oh. Okay. Yeah. So I remember as of the time I applied for Erasmus Mundus scholarship, you can apply for up to 3 programs. I don't know if that option is still available for you to apply for up to 3 Erasmus Mundus program, right? So, but at the time I applied for just 2. I applied to TOR DC, that is Tourism, Development and Culture. So I'm going to mention these courses in case you have an archaeological background. Maybe you studied archaeology and tourism, and you're thinking of programs that you want to, Erasmus Mundus program that you want to apply. You can look out for TOR DC. I applied to that. I also applied for ASHMAT, which is the Archaeological Material Science. So yeah, both of them, I think, yeah, I got I wasn't interviewed for TOR DC, but I got an offer, but it was not like a scholarship offer. It was like a self-funded offer, which I declined, obviously, because I declined because of the even if there are some Erasmus Mundus program, right, that give partial funding. But for TOR DC, they have their mobility country. Mobility countries is the country that you will study in, like the countries where the universities, the consortium universities has, like UK, that is Glasgow University, Malta, and all of UK is very expensive. So it's not something that even if they give you partial funding, you can, maybe if you have the money, you want to consider that. So I didn't consider it at all. So at the time I applied to ASHMAT, I applied in November. That was when the application was opened. And the application was from November 15th, if I can remember correctly, from November 15th until April 1st. So for ASHMAT, at the time, you have, like, you get up to 4 months to, prepare your application and, submit your application. So I applied around November 15th because I was already preparing my documents, my application documents even before November. So I wanted to just submit my application and just, move on with others. So yeah, so I applied in November, and what was the next question?
Yeah,
What
I
time?
think you've already answered. You've already,
Okay.
yeah, I think you already
What
answered
time was
that.
I invited for the interview, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
so
yes.
I applied in November, and you have 4 months of preparation to apply, you submit your application, and I was called for an interview sometime around second week or third week of April, around, yeah, second week or third week of April. That was when I was sent an invite for an interview. So yeah.
Okay. I think there is something I picked up when you were responding. You said you prepared your documents way beforehand, like in around November, before November, even during the application season. So if you're new here, like you've not heard or you didn't apply for Erasmus Mundus at all last year and waiting for decision, this is the time to start gathering your documents. I have some videos in my channel that explained how to prepare for your Erasmus Mundus application. So don't give an excuse. Start now. This is the beginning of the year. So start now to gather all the documents you need to gather so that you prepare for the upcoming application season from that August down to January, February, March of the upper year, okay? So let's hear from Grace.
Yeah. Okay. I actually applied to programs because basically we had like only two sports programs in Erasmus. We're begging for more right now. So I applied to one called Macy. That's Masters of Arts in Sports Ethics and Integrity. And the second one is Governance and Administration of Leisure and Sports, International Masters. So for Macy, the first one, I got an invitation around February because I think the application closed around maybe November or December thereabouts. So I got the invitation around February. But for goals, I got the invitation in April because they newly launched the program in February. So I got the invitation around April for goals. And then, yeah, I think the decision was probably made between 2 to 3 weeks thereabout. So, yeah, that was it.
Very great. That was short time and still a long time, like towards the time when many people are finished doing interview. I think a lot of people are getting interviews. Different programs are sending out gradually. I remember that I got mine in March to do my interview. So so I think the next question I will have here for you is during the interview, you got an email, right? And with this email, was there like information on the platform to use for the interview? And were you how do I put it? Were you conversant, is that the right word, with the app or software that you were meant to use? So like tell us how, like what the interview email included, kind of like what did you receive? And how did you prepare the software, whatever? Yeah. Do you understand my question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, anybody can go.
Okay.
Grace or Amara.
Okay. So yeah, so I was sent an email with the time for the interview, the time and the time zone, very important. So I think my time was between, I think something around 4 o'clock until 5 CET. So that is Central European time. So at the time, Central European time was 1 hour ahead of Nigeria, from Nigeria. So it wasn't so difficult to navigate. You can always check. Some people, they use like maybe country specific, like sometimes they might use PT, maybe like Portugal time, anytime. So just check the time zone here. And they also mentioned the software that I'll be using. I use Skype. I wasn't conversant with Skype. Yeah, so I had to learn how to use Skype within like few days before my interview. Yeah, so I remember I was asked to send my Skype ID to them and confirm that I will be available for the interview. So yeah, so I got like the time together with the time zone and the software that I will be using. And I had to reply to the email with the Skype ID. So before your interview, I would advise that get familiar or familiarize yourself with the software. Try to, if you're going to use Zoom, Google Meet, or any of this software, just try to use it with someone else. Try to prepare yourself, or do maybe a prep interview with someone using that software, just to familiarize yourself with the environment. And I think that's basically it.
Thank you very much for that. So let's hear from Grace, and then I will just say all I picked out and throw it out there for you all. Grace, can you tell us?
Yeah, so for the first program, it was Skype too. Yeah, it was Skype, and then for the second one, it was Zoom. Sometimes it's very easy to get carried away with the excitement that, yeah, I've been invited for an interview, and then you skip the part where they wrote it there and all. But there are some programs that they will send you an interview, I mean an invite first, that you've been invited for an interview. You should confirm first if you're going to be available or not. So for the first one, I think they asked me that, and then so when I confirmed, then they got back to me with the link and then the date, and also, and then the second one, it was through Zoom, and then they gave me a date, but they didn't give me a time. But they just asked if I was going to be available maybe between this time to this time on this day. So I said yes. So then they got back to me with the exact time slot for my own interview. So they'll give you the link, of course. They might not write specifically that it's going to be Zoom or Skype, but when you check the link, you'll be able to see if it's Skype or Zoom. So, like Marachi said, it's very good when you familiarize yourself with how these applications work, because they are different. There are some applications that are very easy and straightforward to figure out, like Zoom, I mean, like Google Meet, very easy. You mute, you're mute. Or Zoom, sometimes before you can connect to the audio, you have to use, maybe is it dialing or something, all those kind of things that might be a bit complicated. So it's not going to be very nice when you're just struggling with, handling all those things when it's time for the interview. So it's very good when you familiarize yourself with it. So that was how my own went. Yeah.
Okay, that was very good. Thank you very much for that information, because a lot of people may not know this. I just picked up some things from them. One thing Amarachi mentioned was try to get conversant with the software before use. Grace also mentioned that you may think you know how to use Zoom. Please, you don't know. Download that very app, especially once you find out, and then try and connect with your friend to see how it works. For example, before this meeting, I already connected with some friends to see whether they can hear me, just to check all that. You need to do that, please. Put that in have a friend who you can trust, your brother, your sister, a friend, even your parents, to see, in case you don't want to tell anybody, or you have, I don't know, but yeah, try to prepare yourself. And another thing Grace mentioned is confirming. Sometimes you receive an email. I will tell you a story with this. You receive an email and you just get carried away. Oh, you were invited for an interview. You need to confirm the date, or if they've included date and time, you need to confirm your availability and if you're accepting, because they're not pushing the interview on you. If you don't accept, they are fine with it. I mean, it's their money. So it's left for you to confirm. I remember one day during the day I got my scholarship letter from Erasmus, food identity. My dad said that we're not going to switch on the generator that night. So we're all in darkness that day. And what can we do? We're just there. And me, I was even subbing my rejection letters. I got Commonwealth rejections, like 8 of them the 2 days ago. So I wasn't talking to any of my family members. So I was in and they said they were not on the line. Fine and good. I continued doing whatever. I was still crying and applying for another scholarship. That's how bad it was. So I just want to put it out there for you to know that rejection is normal. And then immediately I got this letter at exactly around 8:04 p.m. and they said that I've been accepted, and I read the email. I didn't even bother responding. I just took the email, went to the sitting room to show my dad and my mom and my siblings. They were eating, and immediately my dad read it. He knelt down. He was like, "Thank God, at last pressing phone and laptop will end in this house. And then my siblings were carrying me up. But what I want to mention is that it was my dad that noticed in the email. I didn't read congratulations. That was it. It was my dad that noticed in the email that I was told to confirm that email, whether I'm accepting the offer or not. I didn't read the whole thing that night. So he told me, and immediately, what did he do? He went and put on the gem for us just immediately. He said, I put on this gem so that you confirm that. I said, I will confirm this. Confirm it this night. So you see, if you don't read correctly, you won't even notice all that information immediately. So please bear in mind, I just gave you this story so that we can make this more interesting. But that's a very true life story. You can watch the full video on the European Union in Nigerian page. They shared my story there. Anyway, so the next question I'll be asking our guests is how many people were on your interview panel? I know that for me, I had like 2 people, but how many people were on your own? Did they inform you before time, or you just saw them? And how did you see them? Were they showing their faces or not? Like, was it weird? Tell us your experience, please. Anybody can go first.
Okay, I'll go then. So for me, for the first program, there were just 2, and then yeah, I could see them, we could see ourselves, and then it was very easy and good. I was seeing the expression on their faces, it was all good. So for the second one, I think at the point I lost count because so I didn't want to get distracted because I was seeing all these boxes on the screen. So I'm very sure they're actually maybe up to 5 or more than. So there are some programs, of course, that they will just select maybe the coordinating professor and then maybe just one another professor. And there are some programs like the second one where they would involve professors from all the participating universities. They want them to be present there on the day of the interview. So for the second one, they were like up to 5 or more. For the first program, there were like 2 people that interviewed me. So that's it.
What about you, Amarachi?
Yes, for mine, I had 3 interviewers. They were the coordinators of the program from the 3 universities. They didn't inform me, like I wasn't informed the number of people that would interview me. I just saw them that day and I had to respond to all of their questions. So yeah.
So you saw their faces, right?
Yes, I saw their faces. I
Okay.
saw their, even if you don't see their faces, just turn on your camera because you need to create an impression. So, but I saw their faces. They turned on their camera and yeah.
So
So
you're advising that when we come online, like we connect to the platform, we turn on our cameras.
maybe some of them might not turn on their camera, but you're the person that needs this. You need the money. You need this opportunity, right? So you should turn on your camera and you want to create an impression. So you just want to. It's just maybe 15 minutes. You want to make the impression worth it. So your facial expression is also important. So just turn on your camera if their cameras are not turned on. So
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
sorry. I like to keep this into because I think interview is basically them wanting to know you, to know who you are, maybe to even know what you look like and all. So I don't think it's going to be polite when you just come online and maybe you don't see their faces and then you decide to just keep your camera closed or something. So even if you don't see them, just make sure your camera is on and then just keep talking and answering their questions. So far you can hear them. So, yeah.
okay. That's very good. I think for me, I turned on my camera and my interviewers did they turn on I think their cameras were not turned on. And I've done an interview, because this thing is not just for Erasmus Mundus. In case you are here, it can be for any graduate interview, any graduate program interview, or any interview. I went for an interview that they turned off their camera. I'm like, where are you? I said, oh no, we are remaining like this and just go on and speak. If you are comfortable leaving your camera on, you can leave it on. But if you are not, you can. I'm like, oh no, I need them to see my glorious smile. I have to because maybe you made your hair and I like to appear like very African in my interviews. So I like to show forth that glory, okay? So I left my camera on. So if they leave you to choose, what our guests are saying is that, and what I'm also advising is that you should leave your camera on. Okay, so when you leave your camera on, so do you need to like dress? That means you need to dress properly, or can you dress anyhow? So I mean, it's how do you dress? How do you like?
Naza, you remember this was the first thing. I think this was one of the things you told me. That you were like, dress well, smile, just so you have to dress well. See, let me just for me, I don't know for other people, but dressing well also helps boost your courage and your confidence. So if you just dress like someone that is, like you're very comfortable at home, it has a way, I don't know for you, but for me, it has a way of telling or affecting your confidence and how you would speak. So I would say it is very appropriate to dress well. Dress official. It's just, I think it was 15 minutes for mine. So it's just 15 minutes of an impression. This is their first impression of you. I will always say you will have to make it worth it. Like dress well, smile, respond, even if you don't have like a you don't understand the question, always say something at least reasonable and smile. So dressing is very important. It helps boost your confidence.
Anything to say? Grace, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, it's very important to dress well, honestly, and then of course, basically about impression. So most things, I mean, sorry, I tell people most times we can't even dress like fully like formally. You can like chip in like a semi-formal clothes, like not too serious and not too casual. So I think for me, I gave them an African vibe like that. I think I was wearing one African kimono and looking all good and and nice. So like Amarachi said, it sort of boosts your confidence. So dressing nice and neatly actually is very, very, very much important.
Thank you very much. For me, I dressed well. I was in my room. I was doing my master's then in University of Nigeria. So I dressed and asked my roommates to please allow me some time for that period to have an interview. I didn't really tell them the interview I was preparing for. I just told them I have an interview, and they left the room for me. I dressed and focused on the wall, even though the wall of my room is not perfect. Like, I don't know the country you are in, but if you want to show flamboyant, nice father's house, fine. No, for me, my own room was not, the painting was not even nice. I still had to organize everything. I stayed there, smile, wear good clothes, apply powder. I did all that. And at least they'll be seeing I'm underdeveloped. But I need money. so, so, so you better like don't overdo and do you, okay? If you have a wonderful, beautiful father's house, why not? Uh-huh. If you my accommodation then in my school was not that nice, and I had to sit on my table and then did the interview. Okay, I covered my wardrobe though, so anyone you want to do like cover up some of your shit. And Grace is laughing. I'm just saying this because a lot of people may overthink it and it begins to worry them. Don't be nervous, calm down. And I also have somebody on the live chat that said, I did an interview last week, but not for Erasmus, but still at UCT's Czech Republic. I had 3 interviews. It was an interview for food science and biotechnology, and each of them for each subject on biochem fat. I understand what she's saying because I'm a food scientist. And then the person said they all turned on their cameras. So it's good that we know. Thank you very much for sharing that. Do you have anything to say, Grace? Oh, okay. Thank you very much for sharing that. At least we know now that some people turn on their cameras, some people don't. Okay. So let's move forward. I hope you're enjoying this. Please, if you're enjoying this very session, can you leave us a very good, at least I'm not seeing the emojis. You should use the love emoji to show us some love. Drop your comments and also like the video. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I mean, this is Saturday and we are using this Saturday to stay here to inform you, to help you prepare for your interview when we should be cooking and preparing for our Sunday meal. Anyway, so let's move on with the questions we have here. Okay, so I want to ask you, how long did your interview go? Like, how long was the interview time during the interview? How long did it take? Did they mention the time the interview will take for you in the email? Did they stick to that time? Did they did they cut you short just to keep that time in check? Like, tell us.
Okay, yeah. For mine, the time stated in the email was 40 minutes, but they used less. And actually, I think they even called me later than, because I remember I was on Skype, because even though I tried to learn how to use Skype before the interview. I wasn't so familiar. So I think I remember I was panicking. I was like, they've not called and it's almost like 15 minutes past. I remember I wanted to even send an email to the coordinator, like, is the interview still going to hold today and all that? So, and they called. So it was like 15 minutes late and it took just 15 minutes, even though they stated 40 minutes interview section. So
Okay, that's good. That's good, so good. But what about you, Grace?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the programs stated it was going to last for 20 minutes. So yeah, I think we used about 20 minutes for the two programs, or even less. But most times, it always seems as if you're spending like an eternity because you're on the hot seat and all.
I know,
I always
right?
spend more than 20 minutes, and then I tried not to overtalk, because when you start overtalking, that they tend to cut you short because there are other people in line that are going to get interviewed for the day and all. So keep
Yes.
it brief, straightforward, simple, and then they're going to spend the whole time, and then sorry, without wasting any time. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. I just want to mention that the time, if even if they are running out of time, because sometimes they give 30 minutes interval, like, to different candidates that they will interview, and then time runs into another person's time and then it shifts. So in that case, just like Amarachi, who the time was passed and she didn't see them in the call, that means that you should try to be calm. Okay, don't sit there, enjoy yourself, put on music. I remember whenever I'm tensed about anything I'm about to do, I always put on music to just calm the type of music that makes you calm. My own is any Igbo hot praise, my language song that make me very calm. I will just put it, dance a little, and I'm relaxed. So try relaxing, drink water, make sure you eat that day. Like, don't go there fasting. Fast if you want to, but then try to eat or drink something that will boost your energy and make you remember what you have prepared for. Okay, so you don't stammer for a long time and not remember. Okay, that is very good. I will be coming back to the questions I see on the chat. I'm loving it because it's really engaging. Somebody said, can I sip water in between questions? For sure, you can. You can. I drank, your own is sipping. I drank water. So you can, okay? I also want to mention this here. During my chevening interview, I was tensed at first. The first question I was talking, and then they were like, calm down. I said, okay, please, can I have water? They gave me a glass of water. I drank it. I waited for some time. And then I said, okay, I'm ready now, and smiled. Like, and then they were all smiling and laughing and said, okay, let's start. They gave me like 2 minutes or something. And then after drinking water, I still won the scholarship. I still got it. So my drinking water and telling them, please, can we give me some break, did not prevent me from getting the Chevening scholarship. I got Chevening, I got Erasmus, to God be the glory. But all I want to tell you is that you should not be like, oh, I want to please them. Drink water. Our professors here drink water as they're teaching you. They'll tell you excuse. If it takes them 5 minutes to drink the water, they will drink it and continue teaching you. So please have that in mind so you don't go and overdo. Okay, so the next thing I want to ask us here is about preparation. Now we've talked about the interview environment, how it feels, how you logged in. Now, how did you even prepare for your interview? How did you prepare for that interview? How long did it take you to prepare? What did you prepare with? What helped you in the preparation? Is there anything you can, any tips, like preparation tip before the interview that you want to share with us? Please. Thank you. Anybody can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, preparation tips for. There is no perfect. I would say that there is no perfect preparation tips. Like different things work for different people, right? But just prepare. That's all I can say. One of the ways I remember, I'm speaking from experience. So the first thing I did when I got the interview in, I was like thinking, okay, how do I prepare? I started searching. That was the time I started, because at the time I got Ashmat, that's the program I studied. I had already, like, I don't know, like given up on maybe study abroad, because at the time I had started my master's in Nigeria. So it came at a time when I had even forgotten. So that was when I started. I was like, okay, this program, when did I apply? I applied like the previous year, November. I was like, okay, who can I started searching for, people that are maybe in the program, or maybe people that had graduated from the program. And maybe if there is like maybe information I could get, I couldn't get anything. I went to the program's website on Facebook. I didn't find any Nigerian maybe doing the maybe in the program or something like that. Then I remember that Chinaza was always posting about Erasmus. So I was like, okay, maybe. So I had to write her. I remember that was when I reached on Facebook. I was like, hey, I've just received an invite for an interview. I don't know, I'm panic, I'm tense, I don't know what to do. And yeah, so she was like, oh, congrats, you've got so far. In fact, this is like, we should do like a prep and all of that. So that was what I started with. Then I started watching YouTube videos on interview preparation, scholarship interview. A lot of it, like there are a lot of them on YouTube now, and also Chinaza's channel is one of them now. So you can add that. So there are a lot of them. There are reoccurring questions, right? You might want to prepare answers to those kind of reoccurring questions that they usually ask, although they are reoccurring and specific questions. So you want to prepare answers to those kind of questions. Yeah, so basically I would say just find people that are already in the program that can give you insight as to the kind of questions or what to expect in the interview. And YouTube is your friend. There's everything. You can find anything there. And research on, maybe if you already know the people that will interview your interviewers, right? You might want to research on their maybe their research area or something like that, just in case, maybe you want to create an impression, maybe you want them to know that, oh, you've done your research and you are really interested in this program, you're really interested in this, and, you want to have a conversation and, a very meaningful, and you want to create an impact within that 15 minutes. So you want to maybe research on their background. I remember I did that. And what else? Yeah, that's basically it. But the best thing is just to prepare with someone. I would say that just prepare with someone that maybe that had done that program. If you can't find, go on YouTube, find somebody somewhere. You will definitely see something.
Yeah, that was very good. Let's hear from Grace as well. Then I will say something about this.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I had two entirely different experiences. The first one, for the first program, I reached out to a current student in the program, and then she did a mock interview for me. So basically, she asked the frequently asked questions in the interview, and then she made some corrections on some things that she felt I didn't answer properly. She gave me some insights and all. And for the second program, it was a new program then, so we were to be the first cohort. So there was really nobody to consult as a current student. So what I did in that case was that I made sure I checked the website. I understood the structure of the program, because later on the questions actually came out, the structure of the program, the tracks involved, especially for programs that are not so straightforward, that you have like different divisions and all. and then our specialization. So I made sure I studied the website properly to understand the structure. And then we're expected to have our chosen track already, especially when we're applying. So I made sure I understood everything, the courses involved, the specifications and everything. And also, like Amarachi mentioned, I did some little research on some of the lecturers because they posted some of the names there. So checked their research areas because the question came out concerning that too. So I was able to link my question with the professor's research area, which sort of helped me in a way too. So and then I also shared some videos on YouTube. But what I would say is try not to overwhelm yourself because sometimes it can be very confusing when you watch too many videos and this person has a different answer to a particular question. This person has a different. So watch very few YouTube videos and then try to find a balance between these videos to be able to craft your own answers too. So and then try to practice as often as possible, especially if you're a kind of person that you're not really into public speaking, or maybe you speak very fast. Sometimes I speak very fast myself when I get carried away. So try to learn to speak at a mid pace, not too fast, not too slow. You can practice with your friends. You can record yourself, as often as possible to be able to master how to speak well and also how to answer these questions. You can write them down, answer the questions. Don't cram, but just understand how to answer these questions properly. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, that was very great from the two of you. Like, I really love this. And I think the tips that we just dropped here is more than 10. I hope we are all taking notes of that. Like, even the one she said, speaking calmly, don't try to speak so fast, even like try to prepare. There is something that Amarachi mentioned about preparing and how you grow into being. I remember then the first practice I and Amarachi did. I'm going to expose you, Amarachi. Amarachi, oh, can you tell me about my name? I'm like, what is this? Auntie, this is what you have to say. Like, then like we ran through some questions. I had like different questions that we are going to also look at in one of, because one video that will be coming up is that we'll create an interview scenario in a video. It will be a recorded video and we'll post it for you to see how to approach some of these questions in detail. It's not that you should use exactly, it will just be like a guidance for you so that you can like use that kind of template. It will not be perfect, but that's the kind of things we mentioned during our interview. So we are going to be bringing that very video to you soon. And also you have to drop thank you to our guests who agreed to be doing that, because it's very important. I know how I wasn't able to find any Erasmus Mundus kind of interview video, and I found for Chevening, but I didn't find for Erasmus. So we're going to create that for you. Anyway, so I actually grew from not being confident, not knowing what to say, to knowing like to smash it. The last preparation we did was like, she was just answering. I'm like, hey, this is so good. Like, but then we mentioned the things she will say, and then she went and built on those points. So when you hear some points that these people are going to mention in the next questions we'll be looking into, please put them down. Like they will still ask them for some points so that you can start working with that until the recorded video comes out, so that you can build on any point they give you. And that's based on that, you can start becoming confident. Stand in front of the mirror. I did that. I was just talking to myself, blah, blah, blah. I'll record myself just to respond to a question. And I was creating stories from any question, any kind of question they may ask me. Okay. So for me, I would say for my preparation, I prepared with my CV. I prepared with my statement of purpose, my SOP or motivational letter, whatever you wrote there. If you have come this far to the interview session, then you should be reading your SOP. It's very important. That part of motivation, that part of your career goal, that like these are the things you have to read. In the first paragraph, maybe you try to explain something about your motivation. Read that. Understand what your motivation is. Don't cram, like Grace said. Understand whatever it is that you have said there. And then from there, I also used I also use the program website. The program website, I want to understand their goal. What's the objective of the course? When you remember that when you were making this application, you read that, right? But this time around, you are reading it again to make it fresh in your memory. Look through the objective of the course, look through the course modules, then tell yourself, how does this course modules align with what I want to do? Then start answering that on your own. Like, you can make points, have your journal, make points, and then look at the section where they said what their students, graduates do, or what they expect their, I've forgotten the caption they usually use for that section, what they expect their graduates to do after graduating, their students to do after graduation. So you see the trend, like where the program will, how the program will prepare you for, and what the program is preparing you, is going to prepare you for. Look through your CV, what have you done? What did you do in your bachelor's degree? Like, did your research align or anything like that that you already put in your motivational letter, or that you didn't even put, okay? And be prepared to link answers, link things together. All right, I hope that we've been able to answer that very preparation questions for you. If you have any question, please drop it. I am still looking at the question, and I'll be answering we'll be asking some of these questions soon. And so I have this question here. What kind of questions, we've come to this major point to know what kind of questions you were asked during your interview. You can start from the beginning. Even if you talk and talk, like I'm talking to the panelists, even if you say whatever you want to say now and remember something, please, you can still let me know, and I will tell you to speak, because I know it's a lot of things to say. But what kind of questions were you asked during your interview? Somebody also, one of the participants also asked, what are the likely general questions that the committee will ask? So it can come from anywhere. Amarachi or Grace, any of you can start.
Okay. So the questions. Okay, first of all, the general questions. I was asked general questions first. One of the questions you likely get, or they usually ask first, they might ask you to introduce yourself, or maybe they might ask to tell them about yourself, or tell us about your research experience. So it can come either way. So I remember they said, can you tell us about your research experience or research background? That was what I was asked first. So that's one of the general questions you might get. And so they also asked me about my undergraduate thesis, which is also my research experience, right? But I think now they specify, they're like, okay, so this is what you did. So I did something I studied archaeology and tourism. I was applying for an archaeology-related master's course. So I did, in my bachelor's, I did something, my bachelor's thesis was about tourism. So they said, oh, you did this during your bachelor's thesis. Can you tell us about it? So when I was talking about it, I had to just quickly create a synergy, link it quickly to archaeology, because tourism is not giving me what I want. So I just be like, so I quickly, merged it. They were like, okay, yeah, okay. So that was what, I knew they wanted to know the connection between, what you did and why are you applying for this. I knew that was it. So they also asked me two specific questions. Okay, yeah, also still on general questions, they asked me about my research goals. I know they will usually ask about that. You must have written it in your motivation letter, but here, I remember splitting my research goals into short, middle, and long-term goals. And also, just like Chinaza mentioned earlier, just link your research goals to what they expect graduates of these master students to, what, like the kind of job they can, apply for, or when they finish the master. So you want to link it to that. So it just show that, oh, you know why you are applying for this program, right? So down to specific questions. Just like I think Chinaza also mentioned that you should prepare with your CV and your transcript. So they asked me questions from my transcript. I remember, I think they held my transcript. They were like, okay, I can see from your transcript that I remember they said you scored, you had an A, which is an excellent grade in, for instance, let me say paleobotany. Can you tell us what you learned from this course? Or what's something like that. So you have to talk about the course. So if you don't know why you did paleobotany, oh yeah, it's your case. So you're your own to say. So you have to answer
Wow.
something.
Wow.
Exactly. So yeah,
So
they
just,
also asked me.
just to ask, you said you need to know why you studied that course, right? Like the course. Wow, okay.
Not the archaeology itself, that particular paleobotany as a course in your transcript. Why did you got a very excellent grade? What did you learn from the course? Something like that. Yeah. So they also asked me a question from my CV. I think that was a very irrelevant thing. That's one of the things I usually tell people. Whenever you are putting your research experience, no, not research experience, your work experience or professional experience, however you want to put it in your CV, always put work experience that are related to that field that you're applying. You must have had a lot of work experience. Imagine me, although I just feel like, imagine, I always say, like, for instance, in my CV, what is working as, for instance, a marketer doing in your CV that you're applying for, something like that, or maybe as a sales rep. They asked, so I was like, why is this there? So it's not supposed to be there. Just put relevant work experience. If you, for instance, as an archaeologist, like I studied archaeology in UNN, I don't have like a work experience. I can simply, you had gone to the museum sometime, or maybe you must have been to the museum in the department. You have helped. Usually there is a course where we help in curating things in the museum. It's a work experience. You can just put student assistant or curator assistant, something like that, as your work experience. So now you see that it's very specific to archaeology. It must not be something that you did after school or something that is very irrelevant. So you just put, I would just say that because they asked me a question from my CV. So they were like, oh, you worked as a sales rep and this. At that point, I knew, I was like, what is this doing there? So you want to also take note of that. They also asked me, if I wasn't if they don't consider me for funding, will I be able to fund myself? I remember I was like, no, I can't. So I can't. What else again? Yeah, okay. Also, question may arise from maybe what you say. So you should also be careful with what you say, and whatever you say, make sure you can support, or you have knowledge about what you're talking about. You're trying to impress them, right? But impress with knowledge. Try to, like, I remember I was talking about, we're talking about radiocarbon dating. I don't know, I'm very specific now. And they were like, oh, can you tell us what about radiocarbon dating? Honestly, I didn't know so much about it. It was just something that, how we study, I don't know, in the third world countries, or like most of these equipment, we hear about them, but we don't have like first-hand experience or hands-on experience with them. So I was just blabbing to say, because when I got into the program and I saw how these things work, I was like, man, I was just saying rubbish. So just whatever you're trying to impress them, but have knowledge about whatever you're going to say, and just say necessary things, and I think you're good to go. So those are basically the questions I was asked.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. Like all that general, I believe that it has given some of our participants here an idea of the kind of questions that they should be expecting. Okay. I'm rooting for you. I know you will do well in this interview, and I can't wait for your testimony, your happiness, your joy. Just come here, share it with us at any time. Okay. Let's hear from Grace. Grace, can you tell us like the kind of questions you were asked, and what are the tips to use and answer some of those questions? You can mention a few of them. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So before I go into the questions I was asked, I'll try to leverage on some points that Amarachi mentioned
Okay,
in terms
great.
of having a purpose for applying. Most people just want to get scholarships without any sincere purpose, or have maybe clear career goals or objectives. So I think it's very important for you to have a clear purpose so that you can align it with your program, because sometimes these things can actually be exposed in the course of the interview when they are asking questions and I don't even know what your career goals are. So it should just be about traveling out or just living in a particular country or something. Have specific career goals. So, and also in terms of the CV, having relevant experiences, don't be lazy about editing your CV. Some people, the same CV they have, they use it to apply for 10 programs without editing it. And like Amarachi said, the irrelevant work experiences are still going to be there. So make sure you try to rearrange your work experience in relation to the course you're applying for. So let's say you're applying for a sport management course, and maybe you were once maybe a sports coach or something. Try to arrange that in relevance to that. If you're applying for maybe a sports media program and you once served as a volunteer as maybe a journalist or something, sorry, a broadcasting company or something like that. You try to rearrange it. Basically, make sure you have relevant experience in relation to the program you're applying to. So yeah, so far I think I've interviewed or done a mock interview for close to 30 individuals, and they all have different stories. So there are some that will say they asked them introduction questions and later they were asking them motivation questions, and there are some that said they just jumped into it. Why should we choose you? So I would say it depends. Maybe
Really?
they've been
Oh my
interviewing.
god.
Yeah, maybe they've been
Because
interviewing people, since morning, and they are tired of asking the same questions. They'll just ask you straight, why should we choose you? It can come as a bombshell. So just be prepared for anything. They could take it like
because
slowly.
sorry,
Yes.
someone said that they have 10 minutes interview. One of the participants said my interview is 10 minutes. Like maybe that's kind of
So
question she
yeah,
should also be expecting. Sorry to cut you short, but
yeah,
I just want to
exactly.
tell that.
Exactly.
Continue, Grace.
So they could just drop the bombshell, like maybe they are tired and they're exhausted and they need to finish that list for that day. So they just ask you, you don't want to know about yourself, just why should we choose you? So you should be able to answer that kind of question too. So basically, Amarachi also said something about answering truthfully, because sometimes your questions might be leading. Your questions might be the one that will dictate the tune of the interview. So whatever you say, the answer you give will probably give rise to the next question. So whatever you are saying, don't try to sugarcoat anything. Be truthful, so that when they ask questions related to your answer, you'll be able to answer very well. So yeah, most of the questions are tell us about yourself. So this is a question I feel people should try to use to ease into the interview. It's okay to be tensed when you first, log in. You're all scared and all. So use this question. I tell people use it to ease into the interview, to quench your anxiety, to quench your tension. Just want to know about you. So you can start from your past, your present, the future, what you've been doing, how you fell in love with maybe sport, for example, and then what you've done and what you're doing and what you are still going to do like later on. So they could also ask you why did you choose the program. Of course, you can tell them about your academic background and your professional experiences, how you've been working in relation to the program, so which is the reason why it is very important for you to have relevant professional experience in relation to the program you're trying to apply to. They could also ask you why this program, why not another program. Of course, you'll be able to tell them why. Maybe some of the objectives or the courses that they are offering align with your career goals or what you intend to do in the nearest future or your research area. So they could ask you for my program. They asked the professional track I want to go for, because the program is split into two, and they asked me for the countries and the schools involved. So some of these names can be a little bit complicated. You maybe don't know how to, just go and check online, look for how to pronounce it by all means. So I have to mention the universities and the countries involved. So and then they will also ask for my maybe master's research area that I intend to do. So that was why I said I did a prior research to see the research area of one of the professors in the university. So I was able to connect, even though I ended up not doing any research in that line. But of course, I connected it with actually what he was doing at the moment. So sometimes they could ask you if you are in contact with any students in the program at the moment. So it's very tricky. I tell people I don't even know if it's a yes or no answer. So I really don't know what to say in that aspect. For me, I said yes. Maybe some people might say no, but I said yes. And they asked who. And I mentioned the lady's name. I ended up getting the scholarship at the end, of course. So I don't think it's any problem. But just be sincere, because we don't know, maybe they've asked the person already. So basically, I think that's like all the major questions: your academic background, your professional experience, your motivation. Why this program? Why should we choose you too? Out of the many students that have applied, so why are you special? What is special about you? and then your career goals. So I think that's basically all the general questions.
What if they ask you, why should we choose you? Like, to the two of you, like, what kind of answers can you give to why should we choose you?
Okay, well, it's let's say for
Like
example you're
tips
applying
on, like,
for.
what kind of things should
Yeah,
we
I think
mention?
you basically just have to tell them, just as if you're writing a motivational essay again. You're telling them what you've done. Okay, you could even tell them like an interesting story of how you fell in love with that particular area. Let's say like sports management or a particular area in that industry. So how you fell in love with sport management. So what you've done, maybe the courses you did in school, maybe some of the courses you even fell in love more with than the other courses, and what you've been able to do in terms of professional experiences, how you maybe you've been able to make some sort of social impact, maybe with your experiences, how you volunteered at different events, how you really love doing that particular thing. So and then also that's why I said you should take it from the past, what you've done, to the present, what you are doing, what you are going to do. So basically, why they should also choose you in terms of when you get into this program, you can mention some of the courses that they are doing in the program, how you think is going to help you, maybe to
Like
take you
that.
further in terms of achieving your career goals and what you intend to do later on. Maybe the kind of impact you also want to make further, maybe in the sports industry in your country, or maybe at the local level, at the grassroots, or even in the world generally. So just be trying to tell them why you actually love this program, what you've done, and what you are intending to do after, I mean, at the end of the program. So that's what I think should be the maybe the answer to that.
I really like that answer because the way when you said, when for you to answer that question, it's more like reading through, going through, like reading again your motivational letter, but they want to hear it from you, right? So it's all about all that you have mentioned. And please, if you didn't listen to her, can you just, when, if you're watching this video as when we are done with this session, shift it back and listen it again, listen to it again. Like, you need to hear all that she said, because that's very important. By the time you start talking about it, get excited. The thing is that if you just want to japa, like they say, you may not be able to go, like, be excited and talking about your interest. But if your interest is really genuine, that you really want to study this course and all that, you will prepare for it. You will talk about how, what you have done, and how, what you're currently doing, link it, and what she mentioned about knowing the courses that the programs the program models. It's very important, because I remember how I always tell people, check the course models. Those things are very important. And when you are now trying to talk about how the course will help you, you link it to one or two course models and then continue it from there. You don't need to say everything. I really appreciate that, Grace. Do you have anything to say, Amarachi, concerning that?
I mean, Grace just answered everything. Just take it from where you started, your background, to where you are currently and what you intend to achieve, and that is just basically a motivation letter. That's it. Like, and you should speak passionately. Like, if you're not passionate about it, they would know. That's the essence of interview.
That's
They would know. They will know that no, you are just. It's probably just cramped answers, and you just want to. They would know. So if you speak passionately, and really, if you meet like, if you had written the motivation letter yourself, you didn't just copy from someone else, they would know when you were speaking about it. So just be passionate about, show curiosity that this program is what you need. In fact, this is all you need. This is exactly what you need to achieve, your career goals that you have mentioned before. So I
yeah.
mean, take it from the background where you are currently and what you think this program will provide or help you achieve. And that's basically it.
So Duru Deborah Chisom, did you? I hope you heard that we just said. Her question is, please, how do I answer? Why do I deserve this scholarship? So it's almost the same thing that we are saying here. It's just in another language. Like they said it in another, sorry, not language, in another form. Like, why should we give you the scholarship? Why should we choose you for this program? Because as they're choosing you for the program, they're choosing you for the scholarship. So after answering for the
No,
program,
Naza is not program. Sometimes they choose you for the program, but they don't choose you for scholarship.
okay, so you have to add
Well,
that's true.
so they can select you for the program, but they didn't select you for scholarship. So
Voila.
it's different. So when you get the email, read and check that the scholarship is added to the admission. I mean,
Okay. So you can be asked why you want the program and also asked why you want the scholarship, right? Now, in this case, what if I want the scholarship and the program? Like I want the program and then the scholarship. And you know that their decision is based on, like they give you funding based on your motivation for the program. So you have to strengthen that first, because the motivation for the program is meant to be, you're supposed to answer it very well. That's basically what Grace just mentioned and Amarachi mentioned. And then for the scholarship, if they not ask you specifically, you can now tell like your situation, like why you need the scholarship. Or why you need the scholarship.
can I give you something?
Okay,
Yeah,
please.
they don't split the questions. Sometimes they just ask them, why should we select you? Just like Chris mentioned,
Okay.
why should you be selected for this scholarship?
Okay.
So I don't know if they do the same for all Erasmus program, but for my program, there is a point to each requirement. Like your motivation letter has a point, your CV has a point, your reference letter has a point. I think interview, I think it also has a point, and all of them is over 100. So they select people for scholarship based on highest people that have like the highest points. So
Okay.
I remember when I got my email, they're like, okay, you scored, let me say for instance, 90%, and you have been admitted, you have been selected for the ASHMAT program. Then there's also a additional paragraph. Also, you have been selected for the, you have been chosen. That's the scholarship, part. So for some people that maybe didn't get maybe very high grade score, they were not selected for the scholarship. They were only admitted into the program. I don't know if it's the same thing for all Erasmus program, but for ours, there's points to each requirement. Your academic performance as well. If you graduated with a first class, like, or maybe you're the best graduating student in your department, mention it. Not just 2-1, 2-1, best graduating student, top maybe 0.1%, that kind of thing, like so that they will know that you have like very good academic background or results, because it's also a point to getting the scholarship.
Okay. Okay. So I thank you very much for that response. So we've already heard how you should approach those two questions, and I believe that you have gotten something out of it. Somebody asked, how can I approach, tell us about yourself? I thought we already answered that, right? We already mentioned did we mention how we should answer, tell us about yourself? I don't
I
know
don't
what
know if we talked about them asking the question, but maybe
yeah. Do
the
you
person
mind?
wanted them or
Yeah, do you mind sharing like tips on how to answer the question? Tell us about yourself, any of you.
okay. Well, personally, when I was asked for okay, let me just say I was applying to a sport management program, and it's fitted into governance and then event management. So that's like just have that picture in your mind. So I'm online now. Tell us about yourself. So of course you mentioned your name. Before you start, actually thank them first of all for the opportunity. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to further express myself and show my motivation towards this program. So my name is Grace Tolokwe Ojo. I'm female. You mentioned your age, from Nigeria. So I've been involved in sport from a very young age. I had my first-hand experience in sports when I was playing street football with my brother and his friends. Sometimes you could see them smiling. It's a sporting setting, it's a sports setting. I don't know if in physics maybe they are going to be more serious. I don't know, but in terms of sports, I'm sort of more relaxed.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now you go on, of course, tell them like a short story if you want, how you started, engaging in sports. So and then gradually, I started enrollment in school, and then I developed more interest in a subject called physical and health education subject, and then I did it all through junior secondary school. And of course, while I was also in high school, I participated in a lot of sporting activities. Football, I was the captain of the football team. I represented the school at, you mentioned some competitions that I've gone for, if possible. And then to further develop this interest and to also gain more knowledge in this field, I studied human kinetics at the premier university in Nigeria, University of Ibadan. so, so and then while I was also studying, I participated in a lot of competitions, West African University Games. Mentioned a lot of competitions that you've gone for, and some other volunteering experiences that you've done. Maybe you maybe you officiated at an inter-sport program. So don't, I mean, don't, on, I mean, what's the word? Don't belittle any experience that you have, no matter how small. You might think entire sport, what kind of experience is that? Just mention it. You officiated, so it's sort of experience, sport officiating. So I'm taking it now from the past now to what I'm doing now presently. So presently, maybe you're working, maybe you're doing your NYC or something. Presently, maybe I'm working as a physical education teacher in a government school where I'm helping them to boost sport participation. Currently, because then they were not having any sports day. So then I was able to coordinate them to be having, I mean, sports days on Wednesday. So I talked about that. So what you're doing, the impact you're making. So and currently, of course, now you're having the interview. Talk about what you intend to do. When you get the scholarship or when you get into the program. So now I intend to start a sports business in my community, a sort of social enterprise, because we have a problem in need in the society in my community. We do not have a recreational facility. So I'm intending to bridge this gap. So of course, getting into this program will help me to have more insight into the sport business and sport management aspects of sport, and then be able to come back to make this impact to be more groundbreaking. So then you talk about the career goals and the objectives or whatever that you have. So that's basically the summary.
Wow, this is beautiful. And I hope that we've learned from this very example, because it's well-rounded and you just have to follow that kind of, not exactly what she said, because I mean, hers is it's sub-sport, but then it's the same flow that's majorly it's being used. So please, if you didn't get that, rewatch that part again and then put things down, okay? Because of time, Amarachi, do you have any other things to mention, or we reserve yours for the recording?
Okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's the same. There's always a pattern to answering. Tell us about yourself. Basically, it should be maybe research-wise, based on what is it that maybe motivated you to do your to choose the course you studied in your bachelor's. If you have a story, a personal story, or personal drive to it, you can maybe add to it, so just to make it interesting, and what you have done, like impact you've made, work experience relevant to the masters, and that's it. I mean, maybe you have like detailed answer when we do a recorded section, like on how to answer this kind of question.
Okay, that's very great. Thank you very much. I hope the person that asked this question have gotten the answer. So somebody here said, how can we answer questions asking about our cultural knowledge and how we can handle disagreement? These questions are outlined as interview evaluation criteria on my program's website. Cultural knowledge and how we can handle disagreement. I think it's mostly these courses, these programs that do a lot of teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, I don't know whether you experience that, but teamwork, it's a big thing in Erasmus Mundus programs. And it's the source of disagreement between colleagues. Like, it's always a source of something. So you have to show how you have been able to. Okay, I think I can. Do you have anything to say about this?
Maybe maybe if you need to answer questions about cultural knowledge and how to handle disagreements. For cultural knowledge, basically most of the Erasmus Mundus course has to do with, like, because it involves traveling to different countries, experiencing different cultures and all of that. So maybe they want to see how much maybe acceptability you have, or something like that. So if you have like any past experience that maybe you had to interface with people from different cultures or different backgrounds. If you're from Nigeria, for instance, you might want to use your NYSC experience as an example. You were born and brought up for instance, for me, I was born and brought up in the northern part of Nigeria, and I had to do my NYC in the south western part of Nigeria. I had to learn new culture, new language. I learned how to interact with people, accept different diverse view, and find a balance. So this kind of thing, they want to know how much maybe adaptability. How are you able to adapt to different other culture? Because you have to travel. You have to, for instance, if you have to go, maybe you have to spend like 6 months in Portugal, and after 6 months you have to go to, maybe, for instance, Italy. You're going to. It's like a major shift. a major transition. So they want to know how much you are able to adapt, transiting to different cultures within a very short period of time. So if you have any experience where you have experience or interface with other people's culture, you want to stress on that and how you're able to, overcome that part.
Okay.
What else again?
Thank you very much. That was almost what I was going to say, because cultural knowledge, and you are coming from, let's say, a country from Nigeria, or all these African countries that have a lot of tribes. Like in Nigeria, we have 250 tribes. And during your, let's say, one of the example strengths that any Nigeria, if you think you don't have any example, you have your National Youth Service. So when you are trying to answer that question, you can just say that, yeah, that you have been able to develop ability to work with team, especially diverse team. Growing up in Nigeria, my tribe is Igbo, and in Nigeria we have over 250 tribes, and sometimes in the university we see all those tribes in like at least 50 tribes in one class in the university class of 120 students, and sometimes you have teamwork and all that. You can give an example how you have been able to work with people from different tribes, or that your knowledge were different or whatever. You can also give an example of when you went to National Youth Service. And when you say NYSC, please don't use the acronyms. He said in Nigeria, there is a program called National Youth Service where you have to serve the country for 1 year, but not in your state of origin. That you were able to travel over 22,000 kilometers away from home, and you worked as what? As a teacher or what? And there you also had fellow graduate students who you needed to carry out a project together with, and you were able to lead this group, understanding their various values and whatever thing you understood, I don't know. And then you can explain like how if you have managed a problem. Give an example. Okay, in 2029, I remember when I had an issue with two people who were from different cultures, and one was trying to use some kind of words in their life. Like you can just describe a situation. You understand? So, and that helps. So I believe that we have answered that. So when you now finish answering this, you can now link it, that you understand that Erasmus Mundus it's a very diverse, like Erasmus Mundus class should be a very diverse classroom where there are different people, that because of the knowledge and the skills you've developed from Nigeria, that you are able and you have the capacity to adapt in such diverse cultural background, and you are able to even learn more. Something like this. So when you give your example, link it to that experience, that you link it to whatever experience you're expecting from the Erasmus Mundus, because that's why they are asking you that question, okay? And I don't know whether we have any other thing to say, but then what else do we have here? Somebody said, how does your personal value align with the program? Personal value? What kind of
depends on the
yeah.
person's personal values. Yeah, depends on the person's personal values. But well, I don't know what
I've
the
never
person
had
means
that
by
kind of question. How can your personal value, I don't know, how does your goals align? How does your personal
if you're a
goal?
versatile person. Versatility is, I don't know, it's part of your personal value. You can say align
Yes,
with
that's true.
Erasmus programs being versatile and all. So
Versatile.
maybe just
And if you are open to learning, if your value, it's also being open to learning from people. You can also mention that you appreciate learning from people, and that since Erasmus Mundus will give you that very platform to learn from people from different countries and backgrounds, you are willing. Some Erasmus Mundus courses are also interdisciplinary. So you can use that as an example as well, that you are willing to learn from people that you viewed, and then professors coming from different areas and spheres of life, or people coming from different spheres of life. Okay, so these are the kind of things you should mention when answering that question: personal value aligned with the program. Then the person also said, what do you think about the program dynamics in your master's degree program in terms of collaboration or teamwork? I remember that I was asked, have you ever worked with a team before? Because I understand that my program works a lot, like it's a team-based, like we do a lot of team-based projects. So, and I was expecting that kind of question. So I gave an example of how I've worked with teams and how I've developed this very skill. I started with how I was an ESCO in a fellowship, like a Christian fellowship in Nigeria. It's an example. Grace mentioned, don't underestimate any example you have, any experience. So I mentioned that just in case you think you don't have any experience as a team worker, you worked, let's say you served in one of these university fellowships, or Christian or any of your any religious fellowship. It's you working with a group of general executives, and you can mention that as an example, give an example of what you did. You can also mention anything you have done during volunteering or during your your community development projects, during any kind of project you have mentioned. So you mention it, give an example. For me, make your example smart. What year was that? What did you do? What number of team? Were they if you are coming from a country that have different tribes, you can use that tribe as an example, because that's one thing that we love about Africa. We have diverse cultures and tribes in one country. So you can use that as an example, okay? I don't know whether any of us have anything to say about that. I think
I have
it's
something, but that's totally about that cultural knowledge thing. So maybe I
okay.
can talk about that later.
For it.
Or now.
Huh?
I have something to say about that cultural knowledge question, but maybe I can talk about that later or now. Okay.
Okay, you can say it now. That's
So I think one of being a Nigerian or even an African is like a superpower for that particular question, because we even most of the countries, I mean, in Africa have different tribes. Might not be as much as maybe Nigeria or something, but we all have different tribes where we have, okay, this is a particular tribe, this is another tribe, and all. So that means automatically or naturally you have cultural knowledge already. So, and then people tend to sort of overlook it that, okay, maybe it's just something normal. Maybe you've been in, as an average Nigerian, definitely you've probably been in a classroom, maybe in your primary school or secondary school with somebody from another tribe. So that means you have a cultural knowledge already. So when they ask you, how do you handle disagreements, you don't just talk about you coming from a multicultural country alone. You maybe try to cite an example of maybe a time where there was a sort of conflict around you, maybe in your class, that sort of is related to cultural issues, and how you're able to handle it, maybe in terms of being open-minded and being tolerant without making the whole issue to escalate. So I'm not saying you should try to paint an unrealistic picture, but it's always good when you think about a situation that has happened and talk
yeah.
about how you were able to handle that disagreement. Don't just talk about, okay, I'm from a country, I've done NYC. Of course, it's very, very good. Mention that too. Talk about that particular problem they mentioned and how you were able to actually handle it. So maybe directly or indirectly.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much for that. I really love that. I hope we are all learning from this. And if you are, I want to see your reactions now. Like, this is commercial break, a little 10 seconds commercial break. I want to see your reactions, thanking our guests because they are really doing well. And please like the video. I can just see only 2 likes on this video. Wow. When there are up to 20 something people watching already. So like the video and let's continue. And I hope you are taking notes. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please, you can do so, okay? So somebody said, if you were asked about the weather, how can you cope? Coming from Africa, what do you say?
Just tell them
Hey,
that
that
I
winter
don't.
jacket.
Exactly.
I mean, just tell them that this is an opportunity for you to maybe experience something new that, you maybe, yeah, it's an opportunity to experience new weather and you don't think maybe, I don't know, is it supposed to be a problem? I don't know.
So maybe the program must have experienced students suffering during the winter period. Maybe that's why they ask. You understand? Not performing well during the winter season, waking up late. I know it happened to me, but I had to adapt.
But nothing prepares you for that. That's the
Nothing.
thing.
Exactly.
Every winter, every season comes with its own feeling. Like maybe this winter you felt okay. You don't know. The next winter you might just be, you can't sleep. You just have like insomnia. It's great. So nothing prepares you for it. That's the thing. So I don't know a perfect answer to the question. That's
If you're an African, show them the African spirit. You can adapt anywhere.
Exactly. So I think you can say that you can, like, you understand that this very country, it's called, currently in Nigeria, we are within 23, 24, the lowest we can go. You can mention the lowest we can go. However, this is an opportunity for me to experience a different weather that I've learned how to adapt in any situation I find myself. And being that resilient kind of person, I've already started thinking about the coats I'm going to buy from the shop. I've already identified the type of coat. I've watched some YouTube videos on how to dress for the weather. You see how I'm smiling and saying it? I've learned how to dress for the weather from some YouTube videos, and I've asked one of the scholars of the program, if you have, or maybe of another Erasmus Mundus program, I've seen what the kind of clothes they wear during the winter, and I'm happy to buy it from here even while I'm coming. Then if I need more internal wears, I can also buy, but I am ready to adapt, and I think it will be a new adventure for me. Hey, clap your hands, like, say it like that, and and be smiling, like adventure. When you are taking an adventure, you smile, you are expecting something new. So nothing prepares you for that. You just have to be there to prepare for it, okay? But then the only way you can say you are preparing is by watching, asking some scholars how do they cope, and then willing, and you are resilient, and that's it, okay? Anyway, that is a very good question, because somehow you may not even expect that and they throw it on you. So what if you are asked that, how are you able to cope with the language of the country? What do you say? Can you speak French? For example, they say, can you speak French? You say no. Okay, you're coming to France. Say, yes, I am. How do you think you can cope with the language barrier?
Bonjour, ça va?
Ça va bien, et toi?
And Grace, you have your mobility in France as well.
Yeah, it is. But they will tell you that it's a mobility program. Sometimes you don't even have enough time to properly learn the language in the country before you move to the next country. Although I spent most of the time actually in France, but still, it's very different unless you're willing to maybe go for language classes and all. So, but Erasmus is mainly taught in English. Maybe some programs have certain exceptions. But of course, you tell them your willingness to learn. Maybe there are language classes that you can attend, and then if it's possible, maybe you can learn few phrases from maybe the languages of them, and then just maybe speak it to them and just as a form of joke, that kind of thing, to see that
Thank
you're
you.
actually learning.
Lighten the mood.
So yeah, that's what I think.
I think I was asked that kind of question. So for me, what I said was that, for me, I know that the first mobility country is France, and I love French. Like, it's one of the languages that was taught in schools. You have to choose from, and I tried to choose it at some point in my school, during my high school. So I've learned something like bonjour, and I'm currently using the app Duolingo to acquaint myself with some of the, at least something that can get me through the airport, to ask questions. You see, like, they already know you are thinking about arrival, whether you are thinking about it or not. I said that I want to get something. I'm already trying to watch, practice with Duolingo to get knowledge that can help me pass through the airport, and then come to school, and then start adapting to learning more.
And
But
that you've not selected, you're already telling them about passing through the airport.
I swear, hey God. So you can say that and just show yourself faithful and valuable, you know, that kind of thing. So I said something like that, and they really like told them. You can even say, oh, that you've started learning some, like Grace said, bonjour, ça va, and you can say, oh, je m'appelle Chinaza, je anything. So these are the things you can just use to lighten up the mood. Don't make it look like you're feeling bad that you don't know French. No, tell them that you're willing to learn the language, that you love learning languages. Currently, you speak your language, you speak English, and you are also learning one of the major Nigerian language. At least if you're saying Mingo or Brendo, you are learning another tribal language. See? So it's not a lie, but you can know how you put it. Anyway, that aside, and I'm really loving this very engaging conversation. And somebody said, were you asked if you applied to another Erasmus Mundus course during your interview?
I wasn't
asked. And if you are asked, what do you say?
That's a very tricky question, actually, because you don't know why they're asking. If maybe you have like an alternative, if this is not, you know. So it's very, very tricky. I wasn't asked, but if I was asked, I think I would say no. Honestly, I think I would say no. Sincerely, I would just say no.
For me, I think I would say the truth. But look at how we answer the question. So if I'm asked, did you apply for any other Erasmus Mundus? Because somebody asked, I think it was one of the questions somebody have reached out to me asked. I would say, well, if I applied for like one or two, I'll say yes, I applied for the Erasmus Mundus, for another Erasmus Mundus program. I'll mention the name if you want, but I keep my alignment in things that I'm very interested in. For example, I'm interested in sustainability, food, product development, and indigenous food. These are my interests, and I believe that one can have different interests in a field. And I see that as very important for me, how diverse Erasmus Mundus programs are. But one thing that stands out for me for this very program that I applied, this one we are talking about, like this very one that you asked me, is that the course, it's well slated that it has this and this and this. Incorporating field trips and also teamwork, it's one very important thing that I love to do. And I like the fact that they will bring in people from this company or whatever kind of non-academic lectures to come and lecture. It will give me the opportunity to network. This is one thing that stands out for me in this very program. And I believe that if I'm granted even the two of any, that if I'm granted this very course, I will really accept it. And I will, like, you know, that kind of thing. Make them feel that you did, yes, quite all right. But this is why this very program stands out.
You still bring the attention back to the
bring
program.
the attention back to you, back to their program. That the modules, like you looked at the modules, the structure of the modules that they have, and you mention one or two courses that they are doing that aligns with your career goal. So that's why you make them feel good that, okay, you applied, but this one aligns with your career goal specifically because you want to develop. Let's say Grace wants to develop her sports, the social entrepreneurship sports business. And this course, now the course she has, one of the courses has the entrepreneurship in the course model. That means that very course is my interest, no matter whether you've applied for any other one. But because this one has a module to develop my entrepreneurial skill, and this aligns with my goal, as I am preparing to have, you see, something like this shifts them their mind to what we are talking about. Don't look at whatever I've applied before, okay? So thank you very much for that question. I think it's good.
It's a very interesting question, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so somebody said that he or she got rejection. Please, yeah, rejection is normal. I got more than 50 rejections from applying for scholarships from 2017 to 2020. For 3 years, I was constantly getting rejections. I'm sorry you got this rejection, but keep going, okay? You will get there. So the next question I have here is, were you asked if you have any kind of question for the panel? Were you asked, and what kind of questions should you ask the panel or the committee, interview committee members?
Yeah, I think it's quite common for them to ask you at the end of the interview. They're done asking all the questions and all, and then they ask you, "Do you have any question for us?" I think it's very smart to have like one or two questions for them. Don't go about asking, doing your own interview all over again for them, of course, but maybe like just one or two simple questions. So for me, the question I asked specifically was that for our research, for our master's thesis or research, are we going to, I mean, in terms of selection, is it rigid or flexible? That was the question I asked. That means, do we have restricted areas to do some research on, or we are free to actually choose our topics or the areas we actually want to do research? So that was the question I asked them, and then they answered, of course. Those, I think the person I asked didn't understand properly, so someone had to answer on my behalf. So you could also ask them when to expect. Maybe if you are yet to know, if they didn't tell you when they are going to get back to you, you can ask them, of course, that when should you expect maybe the results of the interview or selection process. And then you could also ask about them. It's like you're asking after your welfare, like how are they finding the whole coordinating and everything of the program, like coordinating students from different nationalities and cultural backgrounds. Like, how have they been finding the experience on their own so far? So those are some of the questions you can actually ask them. Yeah.
Wow, that's very good question. Okay, thank you very much. As we are coming to almost the end of this very session, I hope you are really enjoying it. We have one or two more questions. And so, Amarachi, what do you have to say? Like, were you asked if you have any question? What kind of question do you have? We have like few minutes to go, so if you can.
Yeah, definitely. They will always ask you if you have any question. Just like Grace said, always have a question. It shows that you are interested, or if you had done maybe a research or something that you didn't understand, you might just want to thank them. Thank you for this opportunity. And I have gone through the website. I think everything was well explained in the program website. If you have any question that's maybe something that you don't understand, don't ask them about the objective of the program. What is the aim of this program? Because I remember I told someone, I was like, go to the website. If there's something you don't understand, ask them. And he said he went to ask them about the objective of the program, and they,
Bad.
yeah, that was very bad. They were really angry. I think the coordinator was really angry that he didn't understand the program, the objective, and why is he here and why is he applying and all of that. So just ask like some of the questions that Grace asked. I just asked them when am I expecting a reply, so that I just wanted to know as soon as possible. So yeah, you can ask them about accommodation, if they provide any accommodation for students. It's very important since
Yes, great question. Yeah.
since you're going to move in after 6 months. What is the it's finding accommodation can be really difficult, and it can really mar the whole experience somehow if you're not able to find. So ask them if they have any accommodation available, or if they provide. Yeah, about language as well. If you are really interested in learning language, you can ask them if there is any specific.
Yes.
There are free language courses that you can be part of, because sometimes these language courses are very expensive to enroll into. So if they have like free language courses, you can ask them as well. Yeah, welfare, about just like Grace mentioned, very important. I remember I kept stressing about the welfare, because sometimes administrative, how students are being managed. Sometimes you just want to understand what you should prepare for, what you're going to face, something like that. And basically you just have something to ask them, and always thank them at the end of the day for the opportunity, because it's very rare, and not so many people have the opportunity to be interviewed. That's the thing. So I mean,
That was great. I really love that. Look at me taking notes. Grace is laughing. Look at me taking notes. I'm taking notes now. Anyway, I hope you all are taking notes of this kind of questions you should ask after your interview. They ask you if you have any question, because they our guests mentioned, Grace and Amarachi mentioned very good questions. Okay, so now somebody asked, were you confused about the time zone or something? I think somebody said, wait, how do I find the call? Time zone. I shared a link. I will also put it in the description.
Maybe
So
you
please,
okay.
yes, I'll put it on the description of this video on YouTube so that you can always use that link to see the time difference between your country. And I still use that link till today. Anytime I get any email from any country, CST, PT, GT, whatever it is, I don't stress. I just use that link, put my own time of my own location, which I know, and then put that country, the name of the country, or whatever like the time zone. There is list of time zone. You just put it and then it gives you the time you are looking for. Okay, so you don't miss out on that. So somebody said, why does the program require my recommender's detail instead of their recommendation letter? Can someone answer this for us, please? Just
Yeah, I
briefly.
think quickly. I think some people tend to send maybe like fake recommendation sorry letters these days. You know, some people are not always sincere. It's very easy for them to just pick up some letterhead paper and send to them, and also some program decide maybe they've experienced some sort of fraudulent activities like that in the past. So they decide to change the technique to just speak with your referees directly to be sure that they are actually real, and then just get across to them.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Amarachi, do you have anything to say?
No, I mean I think that's the major reason why they need their details, to reach out to your referees directly and not from you. Yeah.
So there was something I read online some time ago last year. Somebody said that one of the big our grandfathers in scholarship, he said that somebody put his name for a school, for a referee letter or recommendation, his details, and he doesn't know the person. The person puts both email and so before you even do this, contact whoever you want to put. And he said he declined. I don't know this person, and the person never contacted me for anything. I am sorry. And that was it. So the person is automatic rejection, you see. That is a very bad thing to do.
Mm.
Don't ever put somebody's name that you have not really told the person, like inform the person prior to adding the, whether it's your professor that you know that have already been providing you with referee letter or anything, still remind them, oh, I'm submitting for this course and I want to let you know that I'm adding your details. I keep telling them in any application I make because they need to know so that they can expect whatever. Okay, please do not make that mistake. That's why they ask, so that you can be very sincere. And I think we have now come to the end of this very session. And the last question for our guest is, do you have any general advice that you want to give to our audience today? Those who are waiting for preparation of their interview and those who just got rejections, like, what advice do you have to give for the people preparing for interview and the people who are waiting for their interview and for people who have already gotten rejection?
So let me go.
That's the last question. So
yeah. So my advice for I'm just going to categorize them. So for those people that have not applied, that are planning to apply, right? If you want to apply for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, I would just say start now, start now and just start preparing now. Most of the programs open application maybe at the middle of the year or towards the end of the year. So just start now and start putting your documents together. If you haven't graduated, maybe you're still in the university and you haven't graduated, I would just say first graduate well. Just make sure you graduate with a very good result, because that is going to give you like an opportunity to even start looking at scholarship opportunities. So graduate well, and if you're planning to apply maybe this year, next year, start putting your documents together, ask questions, maybe ask people that has applied or studied the program that you want to apply to, maybe what what how you can structure your CV, how you can write your motivation, what is necessary and what is not necessary. Just already start having that in mind. And then for those people that have gotten an invite for an interview, I just want to say congratulations. You've come this far, and I mean, if you have come this far, it shows that you've created an impression in them. So you just want to finish it up very well. And you have, like, for the interview section, you have, like, maybe say at most 20 minutes, I don't know, if not more, to create an impression. Just make it worth it. Don't stress, don't panic. Just answer calmly, answer smiling, answer with confidence. You know, when you answer calmly, you tend to give, like, more very good answers. Like, for instance, myself, if I'm panicking, I don't give, like, very good answer. But maybe when I'm on my own after the whole section, I'm like, maybe if I had answered this way, I would have, I have, like, better answers to the question. So because now I am more calm, so I would say don't stress it, don't panic, just answer very calmly. And for those that have gotten rejected or that have been rejected, it's part of it. Just like Chinaza said, rejection is part of it. I mean, you just need to keep applying, like, don't stop. The only time that the only way, or the only time I'm sure that you won't get it is when you stop applying, right? Or when you stop trying. So just keep trying, keep sending that application. You never can tell the one that will work for you. For instance, myself, I was sending a lot of applications because I had, like, I studied archaeology and tourism. I wanted to continue in the tourism field, right? I was sending a lot of scholarship applications to tourism. I never got any of them, but Ashmat was the first archaeology scholarship course I applied to, and that was the first one, and I got it. So you never can tell the one that will work for you. So just keep sending that application, and I'm sure that someday you'll get something, definitely. So I mean, that's it.
What about you, Grace?
Okay, yeah. So for the people that are yet to be interviewed, congratulations, you've gotten your invitation. That means you've come this far, of course, for you to be selected. So I want you to know that there are hundreds of people that want to be in your place. So just be grateful and try not to mess it up. So it's okay to be anxious, to be nervous. It's okay, but for you to be invited, that means you have something that they actually know what they want. So don't be scared that maybe what if you're flop, or maybe you are not good enough or something. So just know that for you to be invited, you have something that they want. So just prove it to them. And for those that are waiting for the results, you've been interviewed. At this point, there's nothing you can do, honestly. So just stay hopeful and then wait and expect a positive decision. So, and then for those that maybe they have been interviewed and you've been rejected, it's not the end of life, it's part of it. Just try to work on your profile. Take maybe short courses, try to volunteer, work, so that by the next time you're applying, if you intend to apply again, you're going to be in a better and more advanced stage than last time you applied. So overall, personally, this is personally based on my own experience. The place of God is really important. As you're trying your best, people say you leave the rest for God. So I wish everyone all the best in your life journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was great. I really loved all that advice. And for me, all that advice you gave, that's all I would also give. Okay. And just get ready, prepare yourself, be calm, don't be nervous. And above all, pray and commit everything in God's hands. And that will be the end of this very session. And then if you get this scholarship, you come and let us know under this section because we prepared you for it. Come on. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not, and leave a comment in case you come back later to see this video. I hope it helps you. Please, if you have gotten rejection, learn from my story. Just keep going. Amarachi mentioned that. Keep going. You never can tell which one will work. Okay? And I wish you success in all your endeavors. And I am rooting for you that you will pass your exams, the interview, get this funding, and go to Europe and enjoy yourself traveling and studying. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much to our guests, Amarachi and Grace. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all that patience for us and the questions you answered. Thank you for always being ready to respond to people like anybody wanting to apply for this scholarship and get it. I know you said you interviewed over 30 people, like prepared interview for over 30 people. That is amazing. Thank you very much for all that you do, and God bless you. Take care. Bye. If you have anything to say to me, say oh. Bye.
Night. I don't
Thank
know good
you.
night in German, so in French, bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit. Thank you. I'm not in France though, but yeah, bonne nuit to everybody. This is
Bye.
2 o'clock here. Yeah. Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Stop sharing.